Hello and welcome to Benefit News. You're here with me, Marilyn Gaur, and we are on the Wellness Benefit podcast. We have with us Dr. Yogesh Gupta. He's a practicing medical doctor and also an author. So today we're talking about
Diabetes.
Okay. So let's start from the top. What is diabetes?
So, as such, it's a very general question, but for about the benefit of our viewers, let's start with a tagline. When you hear diabetes, what comes into your mind? As a doctor, two things comes to my mind. One is termite. This is a disease which works like a termite in your body.
Okay.
So, if you make furniture in your house, and if there is a shred of termite in any of the furniture, within 3 or 4 years, the whole furniture is gone.
Yes.
The same way diabetes acts.
Okay.
Once you get diabetes, and if you are not proper enough in that, giving good treatment, taking good care of your body, following the advices of the doctor, then it works like a termite in your body. Maybe within 5, 10, 15 years, it would have destroyed your kidney, heart, brain, eyes, to name some. And the second thing that comes to the mind is silent killer.
Yes.
Why we call it a silent killer? Because let me give you an example. When many of the patients who come with heart attack or the problem of the heart, they would have chest pain, breathing issues, and their ECGs would come abnormal. But in a diabetic patient, more than 50% patients will not have chest pain.
Okay.
And they would have suffered from the major heart attack, and they may come to know about this coincidentally, maybe after years or together.
Okay.
So that's silent killer for you. So diabetes is that. And second part, what is diabetes is, in a very general language, when your sugar level in the blood is very high. High is medically acceptable limits. If it goes above that, fasting and after lunch or after dinner, then it is diabetes.
But is it like, if it is there like a chance where it is a one-off, like एक time पे अगर ऊपर हो गया, so does that mean I have diabetes?
Exactly. So one of time, maybe in your life, एक बार दो बार बड़ा ऊपर हो सकता है. But then medically there are reports which will help you to diagnose diabetes. That is called HbA1c, because that gives you an average sugar of around last 3 months of your body. So if that is more than 6.5, then it is diabetes.
Okay.
If it is between 5.7 to 6.5, it is called pre-diabetes. Means you have a risk of having diabetes. So diabetes is, in a broader language, high sugar in your blood, but medically acceptable sugars are there, and then if it crosses that limit, then it is diabetes.
So it is high sugar over a prolonged period
Over
of
a
time.
prolonged period of time, which is seen in your reports.
Okay. So, how does this start? Does it start with something? I mean, are there early symptoms? We're talking. I think we've heard about insulin resistance. So, where does that come into this, and when do I go see a doctor?
Exactly. So when you speak about how does diabetes happen, and when आपने अभी एक word use किया, insulin resistance. So let's start from there, because that word helps to say how diabetes happens, what are the symptoms of diabetes, and why diabetes is important as far as disease is concerned.
Okay.
So let's first understand the whole process of sugar.
Okay.
Whenever we eat anything in the body, whatever, maybe it's nuts or roti, chapati, dal, vegetables, fruits, these are the source of energy for our body.
Yes.
So that goes into our body, and the glucose is formed. Not the sugar wala glucose is formed, and from that the energy is generated in our body. Glucose is the source of energy for our body. Cells take that glucose, then those ATPs and that happens, and then energy is made.
And then what is left over becomes fats.
But from the stomach, how does it reach to those areas where the energy is formed? May it muscles or liver. So it has to pass from the blood, and then it has to reach to that place.
Yes.
Blood is just a road, right? So there comes the pancreas.
Okay.
From the pancreas, there is a hormone released that is called insulin.
Okay.
That insulin has a target, is given a target. It attaches to the glucose.
Okay.
And then it takes it to the place where the energy is formed. Okay. So that's a simple process for a layman, right? Many other processes are going on simultaneously. But now your blood is having high sugar or high glucose, and your pancreas is also releasing high insulin, but that insulin is not fulfilling its work.
So like they're missing each
It
other.
is missing the target. You are firing the bullet on the terrorist, but that bullet is missing the target. When that happens, it's called insulin resistance.
Okay.
So it is not that the insulin has gone down in the body. It is that the insulin is released, but it is not actually doing what it is supposed to do. So that comes insulin resistance. Now what happens is, when I say insulin resistance as a mechanism of a diabetes, what happens next is important, and there comes the symptoms.
Okay.
So now the glucose has to reach for the energy. Brain is the final area where which says that energy मुझे चाहिए थी उतनी energy मिल गई. अब now insulin cannot take sugar or glucose to the area where energy is formed. So brain will feel that there is no energy. So it will keep giving you signal, eat more, eat more, eat more, eat more. The first symptom of a diabetic patient is his
Extreme hunger.
Hunger is extreme.
Thirst also, right?
So that we will come to that.
Okay.
So that's a extreme hunger. What is extreme hunger means? I have taken my dinner at around 7 and 9 o'clock again I am feeling hungry. I have taken a dinner at around 9 and again I want some brunch. Same way breakfast, same way lunch. So people keep eating whenever they get things to eat. So
Okay.
that is extreme hunger, the first symptom. Now the second thing is, whenever the glucose is high in the body, in a normal process, that glucose will go to places where the energy is formed. Rest of the glucose will go into the liver and get stored over there for the future needs. And the rest of the glucose, the kidney will come into action.
Okay.
And what kidney does is, it has been given a target by the body. Nature has given it a target that above 180 sugar, you have to excrete the sugar out of the body.
Okay.
So it goes from the through the urine. So if your sugar is very high, kidney is working fine, so it will increase the excretion of the sugar from the body. So there comes the increased urination,
Okay.
because urine से वो sugar बाहर फेंक रहा है. So the second symptom that the patient feels is increased urination, maximum during the night. And the third part comes where you said extreme thirst. Now what happens is, kidney doesn't know कि मैं sugar बाहर फेंक
Output
रही
हो
हूँ.
रहा है तो then you need
So
input.
so sugar के साथ में the water also goes out.
Yeah.
The salt also goes out. So you start feeling thirsty. So then there is an extreme thirst. So these are the three main symptoms of diabetes that started from insulin resistance. Right? So insulin resistance is the key.
So it's like a precursor.
It's the precursor.
Okay.
And why I said the insulin resistance is important, because insulin resistance is the reason of many of the metabolic disease like PCOD, like weight, obesity, diabetes, thyroid. So many of the diseases which are related to your metabolism, related to your, in a layman language, digestion and absorption and everything, is related to insulin resistance. So that is where the whole problem lies in our body.
So is it correct to say that insulin resistance is the first symptom?
It's
or
not the
is it not or is it more like a pathway to it?
It's a pathway.
Okay.
It's a tool where your body's mechanism goes haywire, and from there it starts making the problem.
But if I have gone to a doctor and they already told me that I'm insulin resistant, so then does that mean my chances of getting diabetes are higher?
So a doctor will not tell you that you are insulin resistant,
Okay.
because there are no tests to say that. Let me put it in a very correct way. Your clinical history, your other comorbid conditions like other diseases, and your family history, your lifestyle, that will all come into play, where a doctor may give you a general statement that you are insulin resistant.
Okay.
If I am an obese patient, if I say my family history is strongly diabetic, my lifestyle is bad, I abuse a lot, like alcohol, tobacco, smoking, I eat a lot from outside. So then the doctor will say, यार आपको insulin resistance है, आपको ये disease हो सकती है, and you have high chance of getting diabetes or thyroid or obesity related other problems and all those things.
Does this also happen in children?
Yeah,
Or
insulin
is that
resistance.
because I remember when we were in school, I remember studying that there are two kinds of diabetes. One
Yes.
is
So-
inherited and one comes later.
So another important question. First thing is, there are three types of diabetes on a layman language: type 1, type 2, and in midway.
Okay.
Where it is neither type 1 neither type 2. It's Moody's type of disease. What is type 1? लोगों को ये दिमाग में है कि type 1 means genetic, hereditary. नहीं, it's not that. It's not the case. It may be hereditary, but that it is not always hereditary. Right? My family may have diabetes, so there are chances that I might also have diabetes. Let me give you a data. The chances of a child having a diabetes, if his or her mother is diabetes, is around 5 to 15%.
Okay.
And if both the parents are diabetic, then the child having chances of diabetes is around 15 to 25%. It's not 100%.
But this is basically like any inherited disease.
So it's basically with any innate. So what is the difference between type 1 and type 2? Type 1 is actually autoimmune disease. So in a layman language, autoimmune means your body's immunity is working against your
so your
body
body
itself.
is fighting itself.
So the body fights with the pancreas, and it do not help to fight the glucose or target the glucose as effectively it should. So the first thing is that autoimmune. The second difference is the type 1 disease will require insulin lifetime. Their management will not have tablet forms as a mainstay of the management. Type 2 disease is always lifestyle disease.
And you're saying that children are now getting type 2 also?
Yes. Nah, I will not say that it's a myth.
Okay.
It's not that children are getting type 2 because of the lifestyle, because lifestyle...
No, I mean, when I say children, I mean under 18s.
Yeah, so that you can...
Your prepubescent
quite
and
possible,
teens.
Quite possible. So, it's always lifestyle. Diet, your way of living, your activities, your abuses, and also hereditary
more exposure to, say, fast food, for instance.
Yes, so processed food, right? So that's come the lifestyle. So ये difference इसलिए भी जरूरी है कि when the question comes whether we can reverse diabetes or not. So I can tell you with surety, type 2 you can definitely reverse because it's a lifestyle. Type 1, many of them had tried. Many of them have succeeded.
I think there's a lot of research going on that also.
So that is also an important question that many of the people ask. Sir, एक जमाने में आप बोलते थे क्योर नहीं है, अब तो कई लोगों का डायबिटीज चला गया. So that is also an important question. We'll tackle it once when we reach to that part.
We're coming back to you talking about initial symptoms. Now, okay, I'm feeling extremely thirsty. I'm tired all the time. I'm hungry. So I go to a doctor. What do I have to ask my doctor? Because it could be that I'm just tired and I'm not drinking water. That is so. How do you differentiate diabetes thirst and tiredness versus regular?
So frankly speaking, once you reach to the doctor, first thing is the patient is the best. The best thing the patient did was to reach to a doctor.
Okay.
Rather than himself deciding कि मेरे को ये तो हो रहा है, I am feeling tired. There is a summer है तो मेरे को thirst लग रहा है. So that's a different story. But once he has reached to the doctor or he has reached to the doctor has to invariably go for the testing.
Okay.
Just by the symptoms, it's not always right to say कि आप diabetic हो. Because diabetes, thyroid, all the diseases require some sort of value to add to it. So if the patient comes to me like कि भाई सर मेरे को I feel a lot of tired, I have lost weight, I have extreme hunger, thirst, increased urination, मेरा the wound that I am having is not healing properly or early, then the first thing that I need to do is to ask him lot of questions about the history, about the family and everything, to judge what type of thing that he might be suffering.
You mentioned weight loss just now. I thought people tend to put on weight because they're eating more.
No. In this disease, where there are two types of disease, there are two type of symptoms that we face a lot of time. A patient coming saying weight loss.
Okay.
So the first question we ask is कि खाना बरोबर खा रहे हो कि नहीं खा रहे हो, appetite is good or not. So if a patient says that my appetite is good, I am eating a lot of things, and I feel hungry, then there are two things that comes to my mind is diabetes and thyroid.
Okay.
They are the two diseases where your hunger is good, you are eating well, and still you are losing weight because that is a metabolic issue. So your body is not actually generating energy to give you weight. So you lose weight, you keep losing weight. But when a patient says I am losing weight and my hunger is also down, then the other set of diseases will start. So the important symptom is also weight loss in such type of patients, right? So moving ahead, after taking a proper history, the doctor is going to advise you certain tests, basic initial tests. It's not like all battery of tests. It will be diabetes, thyroid, other hemoglobin and all those things. And from that, the doctor will judge whether you have diabetes or not.
Okay.
So once you have found out that you have diabetes, then it doesn't end there. That अब तो मेरे को diabetes हो गया है, डॉक्टर मुझे दवाई देगा, ठीक हो जाऊंगा.
पर अभी तो आपने बोला कि lifestyle है, तो I'm assuming lifestyle changes are important.
So important thing is asking question and giving, both of them has to give a good amount of time for that initial counseling and consulting.
Okay.
So the patient needs to ask everything.
So then as a patient, I shouldn't feel shy to spend the doctor's time.
You are paying for that, first thing. Apart from that, it's the duty of the doctor to tell everything to the patient so that the patient can fight this disease properly. Reason behind that, a patient of fever will get treated within 5 or 6 days or 7 days. So that ends over there. But a diabetic patient is going to be diabetic lifetime. till
But-
new research comes
हाँ.
and says कि अब दवाई
But
आ
अभी
गई
तो
है.
आपने बोला कि रिवर्सिबल है.
So that is, if you ask question, then only you will reach there, na?
Yes.
So reversible का तो ऐसा है कि how will it reverse? It's not going to reverse by medicine.
हाँ.
It is going to be reversed by the help of patient only.
So then it wouldn't be correct to say it's curable, right?
As of now, reverse doesn't mean curable.
That's what
Reverse
that is, I
means
think, an
you
important
get
distinction
off. As of now, for the patient,
Uh-huh.
the mind, what patient thinks is कि एक बार diabetes है मतलब दवाई and lifetime मुझे दवाई लेनी पड़ेगी. Reversal as of now means to get off the medicine.
there. Okay.
First thing. And second thing is your sugar levels are coming within normal range. Your HbA1c is coming within normal range. That is reversal of diabetes. But that patient will have diabetes again if again he loses the focus.
So it is a constant effort.
It's a constant
conscious effort.
So
okay.
that comes the need of patient to ask lot of question to the doctor, because if you think that doctor is going to do everything, maximum time, let me talk as a doctor. I see hundreds of diabetic patients. So many times I feel like इसको इतना लिख के दे दो, अगर सवाल नहीं पूछ रहा मतलब he might be knowing everything. So it is a constant effort between both of us,
Okay.
patient and doctor. So asking question is the most important part of fight against diabetes.
So you said before medicines लो तो lifetime लेना पड़ेगा. Is there anything else apart from when you talk about diet and exercise, for instance? So the doctor will tell the patient exactly what to do, or do we have to reach out to other specialists? Will the doctor
So-
tell us to do that?
See, diabetes is the disease since hundreds of years.
Yes.
The other specialties that you are asking, dietitian and physiotherapists and other, they came just 10 or 12 years back.
Okay.
So why I'm telling this is, I'm not, with all due respect to all those specialty, the first point of contact is always the treating doctor who
Yes.
is giving you tablet.
Huh.
So what comes next is, for the patient is, diabetes is treated by 4 ways,
Okay.
and they have equal part in the treatment. The first is diet. Not drug. Second is physical activity. Third is drug, and fourth is to regularly follow up with the
You said
doctor.
drugs twice.
I said first diet.
Diet. Oh, sorry. Yes. Diet.
So diet, physiotherapy or physical activity,
Drugs.
drug, and regular follow up with the doctor for a regular report.
So follow up is part of, yeah, I get it.
So when I say 4, equally important, right? Diet, because if you don't follow the diet, then this reversal can never happen. If you don't do a physical activities as advised, then reverse is not possible. As of now, we don't have any drug that can cause reversal of diabetes.
Do we have any magic foods कि ये खाने से diabetes नहीं होगा?
So magic food is like in the brain and Google, right? I see lot of videos where say ये खाओ आपका sugar चला जाएगा.
Yes, I'm seeing a
And
lot of that.
many
and
times I feel I can't help in that. अगर वो वीडियो इंडिया में बना होता है तो we can apply drug and magic remedy act against them and file a case against them.
Okay.
Because there is no magic food against diabetes or cure of diabetes, right? Or reversal of diabetes. So these 4 are important for fight against diabetes. And as you said, everything has to be discussed by the first doctor जिसके पास आप दवाई लेने वाले हो. So diet is important, physical activity, drug and regular reports.
So should I then, if I'm feeling tired and thirsty, then should I go directly to a diabetes specialist? I assume that would be a hormone doctor?
So as I said, there are almost, as far as medical curriculum is concerned, even an MBBS doctor is authorized to treat diabetes.
Okay.
And is equally competent to treat diabetes.
Okay.
So the doctor whom you trust, and the second thing is the doctor who is ready to give you time. I am telling it bluntly. This might be taken as in a different way, but the doctor has to give ample amount of time. He cannot relegate those duties to other specialty till he first talks with the patient.
Okay.
Right? Sending to the dietitian directly, sending directly to some specialist is not the right approach. You have to talk to the patient, because the patient will always and always call you for his or her problem. Really, sir, आज मेरा फेस्टिवल है, दिवाली है, तो मैं क्या कहूँ? He is not going to go to dietitian. Right? आज रमजान है, 1 महीना रमजान चलेगा तो क्या करूँ? He is not going to go there. Right? So that comes the first doctor who is going to talk. So MBBS doctor, family physician, or an MD medicine, or an endocrinologist, all 3 are equally good enough for you.
Okay. So there's no hard and fast rules on that. You mentioned that medicines work for this. So I think the most common that most of us have heard about is metformin. how does this exactly work? And I mean, I'm assuming there are other kinds of medicines.
So there are a lot of medicines available for diabetes. In fact, if I can tell you, the pharma industry is very active in giving tablet after tablets for diabetic treatment. Every year, we get one or two other form of tablets. The fastest research that goes on is in diabetes because it's a what
It's a
we
cash
say
cow.
cash cow. There is no two ways of saying this, but every drug has a primary interest. What does it do it in body? There are different mechanism, but the primary thing is to help insulin work properly.
Okay.
They first help insulin to be increased in the body. They keep poking pancreas ke insulin release kar bhai. Right? There are medicines which will do that. Then there are medicines which will prevent sugar to get into the blood. Like there is one medicine जो आपने खाना खाया है उसको स्टमक से या इंटेस्टाइन से ब्लड में नहीं जाने देगी. So जब वो ब्लड में नहीं जाएगी तो it's not going to cause sugar. So every medicine has its own way of working, but primarily they work on liver, they work on intestine, and they work on pancreas. So these are three types of, these are the mechanism of action. There are various mechanism. This is not the right program to talk to the
Of course
patient,
not.
but medicine works that way. Then there are insulins, that is injections.
Yes.
There are various forms of insulin now available. There are direct insulin available, which actually mimic your insulin of the body. हमारे बॉडी में जो नेचुरल इंसुलिन बनता है उसके जैसा ही आर्टिफिशियल इंसुलिन भी है, सिंथेटिक इंसुलिन.
बायोलॉजिक बोलते हैं ना.
There are biologic synthetic insulins also.
Okay.
Human ectopid, mixed starts and all that. Then there are higher version of injections which mimics like insulin. And then there are other researches going on which are other forms of GLP-1s and all those things which also helps to reduce diabetes through their own mechanism of action.
Okay.
So there is a whole basket and kitty of drugs and medicines available to treat diabetes.
So we'll be looking into that more in
Yes,
future
yes.
episodes of
Yes.
this, right? One important thing I think I wanted to ask was, are there stages of diabetes? Like
So-
I remember somebody saying that they had pre-diabetes.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that is related to insulin resistance that we spoke about. But uske baad, is there like a stage 1, stage 2, like we have for cancer, for instance?
No, there are no particular stages for diabetes, but then you can divide diabetes in three ways, which we learn or which we even talk to the patient. One is pre-diabetic. Apart from that, I also keep saying one more stage before pre-diabetes, where if a patient comes with any disease, and if I'm taking proper history and I know that this patient is having a strong family history, and he has a lifestyle which can lead him to pre-diabetic stage also, so preventive form stage of diabetes. Pre-diabetes is still where your body has given signal कि अब तो आगे जाके होगा ही diabetes. पर उससे पहले का एक stage है जहाँ अगर पहले से ही change कर दे तो pre-diabetic में ही enter नहीं हो. If you start searching books, you will not find this. But every patient, other patient who comes to my clinic, who has a family history, who has a lifestyle, who is obese, is going to go towards pre-diabetic. So I have to stop that also. So that is one stage, that is called preventive stage. Then comes pre-diabetic stage. Then comes diabetic stage, and then comes diabetic complication stage. So these are four stages.
So diabetic complications is what we talked about, what you mentioned early in our talk right now. We talked about liver, kidney,
So-
eyes.
Eyes.
Okay.
So there are four major organs or four major things that comes into complication from day one. As such, our book says microvascular and macrovascular, but it's not for the patient. The first thing is nerves, right? So larger nerves, the जो सबसे बड़े nerves हैं वो पैर में हैं. So many a times you will see patients coming with सर पैर में जलन हो रही है. I am feeling lot of burning in my soul, feet. रात को सो जाता हूँ तो मेरी burning बहुत बढ़ जाती है. So that is first complication or primary complication like diabetic neuropathy, right? Then comes the eyes. So the retina that we have in the eyes, the blood vessels over there are very small. They are called end arteries. उसके आगे उसकी कोई branch नहीं होती है. So when the sugar is very high, that those arteries get burst. They cause bleeding, small micro bleeding on the retina.
So just this might sound like a stupid question. When you say retina, you mean the dark part or the white part of your eyes?
It is back of the eyes. You cannot see from your eyes. It has to be seen through a fundoscope only.
Okay.
So
So that's where the light falls, and that's why you
yes,
see.
exactly. So that's where the mirror effect
Yeah.
comes.
Okay.
So there are blood vessels over there. Small blood vessels get busted and the blood get deposited on that, and the patient will feel dark spots while viewing. The vision may go down. So that comes diabetic retinopathy. The third organ that takes the toll because of the diabetes is heart. So the blood vessels get blocked or occluded, and then it can cause heart problems. And the fourth important is kidney,
Okay.
where again the filters are blocked and then it causes diabetic nephropathy. So these are the four major complications that any patient can come with. There are many other complications like hypoglycemia, diabetic ketoacidosis, but as of now, these four are important. You have to protect these four.
I think we've given our viewers a lot to think about already, so we'll get back to more of this later. So we have with us Dr. Yogesh Gupta, like I mentioned earlier, and we'll be talking more about diabetes in our next episode. Keep watching us, stay tuned, and call in. There's a number on the screen, so call in if you have any questions. Or you can always leave us a comment on social media. Thanks a lot. Thank you for being here, Doctor.
Thank you. So start ऐसे होता है